Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
8 shots fired in 5 seconds. 8 shots fired in 5 seconds.
Tonight, Detroit Police Chief James Craig releasing video of the deadly shootout to set the record straight, saying it wasn't his officers who opened fire first.
Clearly, they were under attack.
20-year-old Hakeem Littleton was shot and killed by police early this afternoon, sparking protests on the city's west side.
Chief James Craig releasing video of the deadly shooting at 7:30 p.m. in response to what he called erroneous information being shared on social media. The video shows Littleton firing first at officers. Local 4's Rod Maloney is live tonight with that video, and we want to warn you, parts of that video are certainly graphic. Rod.
No doubt about it, Jason. You know, and it's a situation where this town was on edge for most of the afternoon, basically because of the rumors that spread that a young black man had been gunned down unarmed by Detroit police. But the chief came out tonight, showed the video, and put those rumors to rest. Detroit Police gang squad members pull up on Darnell Sylvester in the white T-shirt here. He's wanted on a federal drug warrant and gives up without incident. Standing next to him in the orange shirt is Hakeem Littleton, a parolee, who the video shows pulls a .25 caliber Beretta semi-automatic from his cargo pants pocket and fires twice at an advancing officer. He dies almost instantly when officers fire 4 bullets at him. Chief James Craig said a witness heard
Mr. Littleton stated, and I'm not going to say it in the exact verbiage, but basically that you're not going to take my man.
You with your phone, man. Shots fired! A closer body cam shot shows Littleton firing at the advancing officer, missing him, and the officer did not flinch.
He is what I describe as an American hero. Despite being fired upon, and you saw it with your own eyes, he continued to advance. He didn't even have time to take his weapon out. He advanced. He wanted to secure by putting his own life in jeopardy.
The chief says the officer remains shaken as Littleton did aim at his head. But all afternoon, social media posts popped up claiming none of this happened, that Littleton was unarmed and gunned down by police execution style.
It does incite violence, and I was deeply concerned over the erroneous information. I know we're in a very difficult time, not just here but across this country, and I've asked repeatedly that, give us a chance.
Now, the chief wouldn't address what might happen to anybody inciting that kind of violence, but in the meantime, he did say that all of this stems from an investigation into that block party shooting on July 5th where 8 people were injured. They believe it was gang violence that prompted that. And the chief said both of the young men involved in today's activities were in gangs. Back to you.
It was just amazing to watch this play out in real time as we were carrying this live on TV tonight, Rod, to watch that video and then again to watch it just now still. What did the chief say about how quickly this happened and his officer's response?
Well, we heard him say it earlier, but it's important to reiterate that there were 8 shots fired within a frame of 5 seconds. Now, the young man who was killed apparently shot 2 shots at the officer and then kept shooting when he went down to the ground. They say they have all of the shell casings in that. It is early in the investigation, but the chief felt it was vital that they get this video out, and they're going to continue the investigation into this. But at least they were able to stop the escalating violence that was going on because people thought that something happened when, in fact, it had not.
Absolutely right, and just amazing that officer is here to talk about what happened, missing a bullet at point-blank range. Rod, thank you.
Meantime, in response to the deadly shooting, protests erupted at the scene of the shooting. Things got tense with objects thrown at officers who then deployed tear gas. Victor Williams was in the middle of it all. And Victor, those protesters then marched to the 12th precinct where there was a brief standoff with officers in riot gear.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these protesters were out here all day, but thankfully it appears that no one was seriously hurt or injured in what these people are calling an outcry for justice. This was the scene earlier in the day, chaos in the intersection of San Juan and West McNichols, where 19-year-old Hakeem Littleton was shot by police. Multiple items could be seen thrown at the officers, who all lined up in riot gear as several people were arrested. This demonstrator calls them outside agitators.
They kept yelling different things to instigate the protests. That's what I saw. I didn't see no people from the neighborhood, and I still don't see anybody from the neighborhood marching.
Then came the tear gas, many of those canisters thrown right back at police. Officers retreat from the scene, and from there, the group would then march down West McNichols throughout the city.
I just want this stuff to stop. We deserve to have a voice.
Eventually, the rally would come to a halt at DPD's 12th precinct, where once again, there would be a face-to-face interaction between the now larger group and police, however, in a much more peaceful manner. Eventually, the march would end at the same intersection where the turmoil originated. But even after the video was revealed showing the final moments of Akeem Littleton's life, some still believe his death was unjustified.
He was, look, struggling. Let him go. Shoot him in the leg. He'll be all right. Apprehend him. Put him in custody. You do not take somebody's life.
And his mother is standing by her son.
He was a genius. He was a warrior. My son was bad.
That's right.
Now, even after this video was released showing the final moments of Littleton's life, protesters, they still lined up here at the 12th precinct, a lot of them still face-to-face with officers. So I have a feeling that this is just going to be the beginning, and we'll probably see more from those protesters again tomorrow. Victor Williams, Local 4.
In the meantime, the investigation does still continue. Thank you, Victor. We did just receive a statement from the Detroit branch of the NAACP on today's shooting. It reads in part, this situation in the city of Detroit clearly demonstrates the tremendous value of body cams and dash cameras used by police departments across the nation. Today's events could have turned into a crisis that turned our city into something that none of us wish to see. Community policing, transparency, and integrity are vital elements in the ultimate security of our community. Our coverage continues on clickondetroit.com, where you can watch Chief James Craig's news conference in its entirety. You can find that right on our homepage.
Well, we saw a lot of rain that really kind of helped dampen that protest, at least diffuse it a little bit, and now it's turned into a flash flood warning in effect for parts of Metro Detroit.
Andrew is in for Ben this evening, and Andrew, what areas particularly are seeing the most rain tonight?
Well, right now, the city of Detroit, you saw our friend and colleague Rod Maloney with his umbrella out. You saw the same thing with Vincent. We're looking at heavy rain that's falling throughout parts of the metro area, and yes, a flash flood warning in effect, including here in Detroit, much of northeastern Wayne County, and parts of Oakland and Macomb counties. Victor Williams was seeing that heavy rain, and so are many of these neighborhoods. Now, this flash flood warning that you see outlined here in red, including Sterling Heights, Warren, the Royal Oak area, is good until 1:15. So for about the next couple of hours, because that's how long some of this heavy rain is going to be sitting on top of us. Here's some of the heaviest rain. You can see with Storm Tracker 4, we can get right down to your street level, right across Harper Avenue, also across East Point, along Gratiot Avenue from Detroit over into Roseville. Some of the rain has become a little bit lighter here in downtown Detroit, but still coming down at a steady pace. And large amounts of rain in a short period of time can cause sudden flooding that can be hazardous. It causes ponding on roadways, high standing water, and that is what you want to avoid if you happen to be driving. Not only do we have alerts that are up, but much of southeast Michigan north of 8 Mile with a flash flood watch through the night. How long is this rain going to stick around into Saturday? What about for the rest of the weekend? I've got the answer coming up in your full 7-day forecast.
All right, Andrew, a very busy Friday night. Breaking news just in from Lincoln Park. 2 firefighters rushed to the hospital after a semi-truck hits a fire engine, shutting down the northbound lanes of I-75. This crash happened on the northbound lanes near Dix Highway. One of the firefighters is in critical condition, while police say the other suffered serious injuries and is also hospitalized. The cause of the crash under investigation. Today, the state reported 612 new cases, up 166 from yesterday.
The state also reports 15 new deaths, though all of those came from a review of vital records, meaning none of them occurred since yesterday's update. Other headlines, Governor Whitmer issuing an executive order toughening the mask requirement, adding fines for those who violate it. There are some exemptions, but anyone not wearing a face covering in an indoor public space or crowded outdoor space is subject to a $500 fine.
I don't want to move backward. I don't want to close things down again. And yet, if these numbers continue to trend up, we may have to. And so this is an effort to avoid that. And so everyone's required to wear a mask when you're outside the house.
People who are not required to wear a mask include kids younger than 5 years old, people who can't medically tolerate a face covering, and people eating or drinking while seated at a restaurant. Big news out of Washington tonight. President Trump commuting the sentence of his longtime friend Roger Stone.
The move comes just days before Stone was set to report to prison. Back in February, Stone was convicted of lying to Congress and obstructing the Russia investigation and was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months. The White House released a statement calling Stone a victim of the Russia hoax.
A big stretch of I-75 is now closed for the weekend, impacting Wayne and Oakland counties. I-75 is shut down between 8 Mile and Square Lake Road, with all traffic being detoured onto Woodward. They'll be working on the road and demolishing a pedestrian bridge over the freeway. That stretch of I-75 is expected to be back open, though, in time for the Monday morning commute.
After 3 decades of memories, what's left of the Palace of Auburn Hills is coming down tomorrow morning.
This is really sad when you think about it. 800 pounds of dynamite will be used for this implosion, taking down the roof and supporting columns of the former home of the Pistons. And from the Pistons' 3 championship runs to the memorable concerts and events, a piece of Metro Detroit history will be no more after tomorrow morning. The land is being redeveloped into a mixed-use office and research space. The implosion is set for tomorrow at 8 a.m. and you can watch it live on clickondetroit.com.
New at 11.
People working in businesses, in bars, in restaurants, now being told by the governor that they are the mask police and they're taking abuse from customers.
They had a situation where a 20-year-old hostess just got absolutely shredded by an older guest about having to wear a mask. It's like, we have to do this. You know, this is what we're required to do.
But now it's the businesses. They can be hit hard if they don't follow the new rules.